Happy Monday. New beginning of a new week. Yay.
Yeah.
Has it been a regular just Ms. Monday for you too?
It's alright. It wasn't like a bad day or anything. My one coworker was like on one today though.
Oh yeah?
She was very much so fuck this place. I'm quitting.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. She was not having a good day. So, alright. Oh shit. I'm falling apart over here.
Oh.
That's not where I wanted to. I need to. Jesus Christ. Alright.
Okay. So, I finally did some research for us to do Murder Mystery Monday, but we call it Murder Mystery because we don't know if it's murder or not the case. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So, this one's going to be about Kendrick Johnson. It was a 17-year-old found on January 11th inside a rolled-up wrestling mat in the gym of Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia. Local and state officials concluded he suffocated accidentally while reaching for a shoe in the mat. His parents disputed this.
Okay.
And got their own autopsy that concluded it was blunt force trauma to the neck and soft tissues caused his death. And they filed a $100 million civil lawsuit against 38 individuals stating his death was a murder and that the respondents and others were participants in a conspiracy to cover up his death.
Okay. And the autopsy was like correct, right? Like it wasn't.
I don't know.
Okay, so we got one that says they suffocated and one that says it was blunt force trauma.
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, as I researched into this, the lawsuit was dropped and the Johnsons had to pay more than $292,000 in legal fees to the defendants. But anyways, his body was found by fellow students who had climbed up to the top of a cluster of mats, which stood nearly 6 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Now, I have looked at pictures and stuff of these mats, and if they were rolled up like they say, and then mounted up, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, an autopsy by the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the GBI, stated that Johnson died from positional asphyxia, and the case was ruled an accidental death. Authorities hypothesized that he fell into the mat while looking for a shoe and died after being unable to get out. 3 students said it was normal for kids to throw their shoes behind, under, and in the mats. Another student said he shared a pair of Adidas with Johnson, and that after class, Johnson would always go to the mats, jump up, and toss the shoes inside the middle of the hole. Okay, this is where I had to write my own little notes.
Okay.
Hi, Rondi. Good to see you. Sorry, I was reading. I finally did notes to do this Kendrick Johnson case.
Right. We're reading about it.
So, for them to share shoes, okay, okay. If they stored these shoes in these rolled up mats like this, and he climbed up in those mats, I would think, I could see him getting stuck.
I could see him getting stuck, yes. But, here's the thing. The way the kid makes it sound is like they did it all the time, yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but if they were used to climbing in and out of these mats and shit all the time to grab shoes and whatever else, how the fuck did he get stuck?
Without somebody on top of the mats or something to...
Right.
Like...
Was someone standing on the mat and suffocated him or something? Like, what was...
So, according to the the GBI, Rondi, he actually died from positional asphyxia, and it was ruled an accidental death. But the parents exhumed his body and had their own autopsy done, and that showed that there was blunt force trauma to the neck and soft tissues in the neck, being not an accidental death. So apparently the police, like, they filed all kinds of lawsuits, even against the funeral home, because this was also the same boy whose body was stuffed with newspaper.
What? I didn't even hear that part.
Yes, this is a wild case. So his body was stuffed with newspaper at the funeral home, and this is where I actually had to do some research, because that's wild to me, because they lost that lawsuit too. The funeral home did nothing wrong, but they did stuff his body with newspaper. It's, if there's no organs, now this is what I couldn't find, what happened to his organs. Apparently the organs got thrown away because he was exhumed and everything else, and his organs just rotted. So with no organs in there to hold the body up, they either fill you, and I guess they do this like if you donate your organs, things like that, they can fill you with sawdust. I have notes. They can fill you with sawdust, cotton, and newspaper. So the family tried to sue, saying they could have stuffed him with something different and better than newspaper.
What, cotton?
Cotton or sawdust, right. So
I'm not sure. I'll leave. I'm just not even gonna.
yeah, so that's what all I got on this case.
So that's it.
So they tried to file lawsuits numerous times against numerous people, and they never could win anyone or anything, and they even reopened this case. Okay, I let the blunt go out.
Oh, okay, good, because you were touching it to the couch.
Okay, so they actually reopened this case in 2021.
I thought you said 22, and they closed it in 23. Maybe I'm wrong.
The actual U.S. Attorney's Office looked into the case too, because it was reopened and the body was exhumed. So the U.S. Attorney's Office looked into the case and came back that there was, after an extensive investigation into this tragic case, there's no evidence could be found to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that someone or some group of people willfully violated Johnson's civil rights or committed any other prosecutable federal crime. So then, in March 10th of 2021, a Lowndes County Sheriff, Ashley Polk, reopened the case, and he even put up a $500,000 reward with his own money for info leading to the conviction of anyone who killed Kendrick Johnson. According to Polk, he and two other investigators poured through the case for 13 months before closing the case and stating there was no homicide, no cover-up, no conspiracy in the 2013 death of Kendrick Johnson. It was simply a tragic and bizarre accident. So they've reopened and did this case more than once, more than just, what I'm saying is more than just I'm gonna go with it was an accidental death, and I understand where you are coming from there, where it's sus.
It is sus. And didn't at some point someone tried to say it was racism, and
yes. So they tried to school,
but it's
they also
Georgia, isn't that?
They also, so it was Ben Crump was their attorney. I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Crump, but he was real big in the BLM movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, and was an attorney for a lot of those. I think he was for George Floyd and stuff, he was the attorney on that case and stuff.
Okay.
And which put it into the racist category is where the racism's coming from, I think, on this case. Okay. So it doesn't say if he was in there upside down. It says that he got stuck in the rolled up mat, not necessarily upside down, kind of like this, you know what I mean?
Here.
rolled up into the mat. 012779.
Oops.
So they tried to sue the school board and the principal and all that, you know, all the people involved with the school and everything else, because he apparently was bullied by white kids and stuff like that. But they didn't win that lawsuit either. The parents didn't.
Yeah, because this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, the case is really bizarre.
These mats.
But the way they show them, like pictures, and as you're researching this case, they show them already rolled up.
Right, hold on. Let me see if I can.
Like that.
These. Oh, like this?
Yeah, like that. They were just rolled up. Those are yoga mats.
I was going to say.
That's not the same.
Gym mats.
Wrestling mats. They're called wrestling mats.
Wrestling mats?
Mm-hmm. More like that one, but rolled up. There's a bigger gap in it, like that.
Similar to this.
Yes, like that white one. See how they even show?
Stop.
So you can show the.
Is that the pictures?
No, but that's a picture
Kendrick
of
Johnson case.
See, so show.
Y'all.
Apparently they had to climb in the mats to get the shoes out. The kids said that it was normal.
Where'd the picture
Rhonda.
go? I don't know. Seeing the picture. Come on. Seeing it like that makes it hard for me to believe he crawled up in there, to be honest.
I do. I think it was accidental. I think he climbed up in there to get the shoes. I believe.
Ah! Oh, a whole bunch of puppies. What happened? What is this? It's just nothing but puppies now.
And too many different authorities have done their research into this as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just the first responders.
Right.
Like
right.
the U.S. Attorney's Office picked this case up and did their own investigation. Like a sheriff years later, you know, closed it again 10 years later, looked into it and came up with, I mean, more than one authority. You know what I'm saying?
Has been like, yeah.
I agree. Now that I agree with. Why was something like that even allowed to begin with? Should the school board be responsible for that? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a dangerous situation, and you have kids too. Or was this the lesson they learned from? As sad as it is.
Right, maybe there was never an issue before. They never saw it as an issue because nothing happened.
Until this made it an issue.
And then they were like, y'all need to...
Right.
But you know what? See, this is weird. This is weird for me because every school I've been at, we weren't allowed to play on the gym mats and
Or the
shit.
bleachers or any of that
No.
stuff. You weren't allowed to play with the gym
Especially
equipment.
underneath or inside. That was a no-go.
But at the same time, maybe that's why the school isn't in trouble. Right, not to be allowed. Maybe that's why the school said, no, you're not allowed in these mats and everything else, but they did it anyways. You notice it was the students that said we normally did this, not the teachers and stuff.
True, the school, it could have been a school rule, but they were still doing it
They
anyway.
were doing it anyways,
when
and that's
people
why the
weren't
school couldn't
looking.
be held responsible. Because
Yeah.
they tried to sue the school system as well. They tried to sue everybody. Which is what makes me think that it was a tragic accident, because
They weren't able to sue nobody.
they weren't able to sue anybody.
Everybody did
Everybody
so much
investigation. Right.
Well,
But it was a really weird case, like reading about it, and then the newspaper stuff in the body and everything else, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
what?
They stopped his newspaper.
Right, or what about the
His body
supervision?
newspaper.
Just because they have it posted or something, what about the supervision of the students?
Right.
Good points, Rondi.
Right, was this during, because like, okay, example, when I went to McCormick Middle School, at the end of the day, we all, like the whole school, went to the gym to wait for our buses and shit. So like, was it a situation like that where they, at the end of the day, they're at the gym, you know, like they're in the gym fucking around waiting for their bus. And
Right.
I'm here to collect before I go.
collect?
Yeah.
Oh, collect your blunts.
Thanks.
Those aren't even roaches, man.
Those are half blunts.
Yeah.
That's
they
what
are.
I'm talking about.
At the club, there always has to be someone there. Always has to be someone there. I get it. At work.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess.
This was pretty fun doing true crime.
Yeah.
Like, we had something to talk about and occupy it and everything. Like,
I know,
but this is a
we're-
lot of work.
We're only like, what is it? Is it 16 minutes in? But still, I mean, that's 16 minutes that we were able to talk about something.
Right. Instead of just our bullshit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, it could happen. Climb up in there and get stuck. I personally
It's
would have
weird.
never climbed up in there, but I'm not
I'm
him.
claustrophobic.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not really claustrophobic, but
I am.
like, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's different levels of claustrophobic too. Cause like, there's some people that are so claustrophobic they can't even be in a room this small. This is too small
Right.
for them, you know?
Right. Understandable.
So, I don't know. Maybe I could be possibly claustrophobic because it gets so small, or if something happens, like at work, me and Robert fucking got stuck in the elevator one day.
I'd have lost my shit.
And I instantly was like,
I would
nope.
have lost my shit getting stuck
Nope.
in the elevator. I don't like elevators to begin with. They're small, confined, and they move.
Yeah.
I've been stuck in one before.
Well,
One of
and
them
I've
old-fashioned ones with like the door, the gates, and stuff.
Stop.
Yes. I've been stuck in one, so I'm petrified. I don't like
Oh.
elevators to begin with. I don't, and I can't do like.
Well, like, and then like, you ever seen like different movies where like the elevators crash at the bottom
Right.
and kill everybody in them and shit, and you're like,
Yeah, who wants to be in that?
nobody.
The mat was laying down. They were all like laying down and rolled up.
They were rolled up,
And
laying down,
stacked.
and stacked on top of each other, kind of like a little pyramid of mats.
Yes.
It's usually how they did it at my school too.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Wild.
I can't even get inside the MRIs and stuff like that.
Oh
and
my God,
everything. I
yeah.
have to take medicine.
I just close my eyes and just try to.
I can't even do that. I can't breathe. I can't.
It's too much. Yeah.
I don't know. That is what's weird about it. He got stuck. I mean, the pressure of all the other mats stuck against it. Maybe it was tight to begin with, and he squeezed his little way in there, and
Squeezed his way in and then realized he couldn't get out and there was nobody around. I don't know.
right.
You would think there would have been someone around. I heard him yelling like, help, help, making noise.
But
his
would you have
legs.
heard him yelling because he was inside of a mat with his that? Okay, you'd still hear, but not as loud. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right, and if it was like a room full of kids or whatever, you're not going to hear someone muffled, you know?
Right.
So,
Right. I mean, that's the only explanation I would have, is that he crawled in and pushed through when he couldn't fit as it was, and he still pushed through.
right,
Or-
got himself stuck.
And it could be that some kid threw the shoes farther back in the mat, being a bully and stuff. He could have absolutely been bullied, and somebody threw the shoes farther back, or, you know, they did make it accidental.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I didn't see what time of day,
I would assume.
but it was during the school day because it was students who found him.
I was gonna say anywhere between fucking like 8, probably between 8 and 2 of some sort, you know, or like 7, 3.
Right, because it was students who found him, so it was during the school day.
We need to go back to doing random facts and shit.
It doesn't give us something we've talked this whole show.
Oh, hey, I got a random fact today. Wait, I think I've talked to you about this, though. That most lizards, I thought it was just, what kind of geckos or some shit? Either way, most lizards, did you know that as a defense mechanism, they can drop their tail?
What do you mean?
They can drop their tail, bitch. Like their tail just
Falls
pops
off?
Yes.
Nuh-uh.
I swear to God.
That's
I
wild.
swear to God. Yeah, it just falls off as a defense
I don't have any
mechanism.
red shirts, so I wore pink is the closest one I have. I knew it was red shirt today, and I looked everywhere, and I have an orange shirt when it was orange shirt day, but it's red shirt day for the murdered women and children indigenous.
I don't have a red shirt either.
Yeah, I don't wear red. Like, at all.
I have been seeing that, though. There's even a photographer I follow that did a photo shoot for that with the handprint on the mouth, and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But alright, bro.
All right, bro.
I ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Me either. Thanks for joining us on Murder Mystery Monday. We're going to do it every Monday. I'm going to look
Right.
up a case. Wait, Rondi, do you have anybody you want me to do research on?
Well, we still got to look up that, what
I
was
can't
her
think
name?
of her last name.
Shepherd?
Oh, yeah, you have to do Katie Shepherd. That's
Yeah.
on you, though.
Man.
Thanks, Rondi. Have a great day. If you think of anybody, text me.
Yeah, if there's anybody, even if it's like someone you know personally or something, like a small town. Ooh, we could talk. I know of an actual murder
Okay.
that we could talk about. It's actually fucking Lee's cousin.
All right. All right. Have a great Monday.
Peace out. Come on, bitch.
Say maybe we're not going anywhere.